Krishna Samadhar. This present slide is concerned with a subject called immigration law, whereby I'm dealing with the topic of Citizenship Amendment Act 2019. The prerequisites for this particular presentation are Passport Act 1920, Citizenship Act 1950, and of course the Citizenship Amendment, which has been done in 2019. The objectives with which this presentation has been prepared are to understand the ways in which citizenship is tackled under Citizenship Act 1955, to understand the amendments done in 2019, and to analyze those necessary changes which has been entered and included in. So the broad areas which has been dealt in this particular presentation are the ways in which citizenship is tackled in the original Act of India, the changes which has been included in the 2019 amendment, and analyzing the present amendments. Now, basically, by virtue of Article 11 of the Indian Constitution, Parliament has enacted Citizenship Act 1955. The Act basically has been propounded with the very objective of providing all those detailings which are required for a particular individual to acquire, loss, deprive, or termination of citizenship. That means any subject matter which is analogous to citizenship. Now, there are in my previous slide, I have already dealt with certain aspects, the basic aspects of citizenship, that is, how many are the ways through which citizenship can be acquired in India. So, I'm again repeating that broadly there are four ways through which citizenship can be acquired, that is, by birth, by descent, by registration, by naturalization. So these are the four ways, but at the same time, we have provision for terminating citizenship if anybody does certain particular activities which turns out to be unruly in context of Indian administration is concerned. Then in that case, they are provided in the schedule of concerned schedules of Indian Citizenship Act. Under the fulfillment of those unruly activities, there can be a situation where a person can get termination of citizenship as a punishment or as a consequence. Now, in this particular slide, we have, as I have said, that we have to analyze that what are the amendments which has been uh, inserted in 2019 amendment. Now, 2019 amendment has been basically targeted to uh, address the issue of illegal immigration in India. The positioning of India, the geographical positioning of India has helped India at the same time and made India a prey of illegal immigration also. Because all the neighboring countries of India, whether it is Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, all of these states, sometime or the other, have some kind of religious persecution movement which has happened. And whenever and wherever this kind of religious persecution movement has happened, those people have found India as a safe haven to stay and take refuge. Now, many of those people who were taking refuge in India were not properly documented immigrants. So, of course, if they are not properly documented immigrants, they have been turned out to be called as illegal immigrants under the Foreigners Act in India and also under Citizenship Act of India. Now, because the average population of the illegal immigration was increasing day by day, there were many issues analogous to that particular infiltration was also increasing in India. Now, India had to ensure the security issues of Indian dominion, as well as India has to ensure that it should not set a world trend that so that everybody can make it can think this very clearly that at any point of time you may enter into India without any proper document and you may stay here safely for ages. That should not be the case. That should not be held as an example. In that case, what will happen is not only the neighboring states, but also those states which are far away from India, there also whenever any religious persecution movement will happen or any person will find that they cannot stay there, any kind of fear of persecution which might happen or which might come into in front of them, they may run away and come to India to take a safe refuge. So India has to ensure certain aspects because of India has to take certain steps so that they can stop illegal immigration. With that particular view, they have provided various aspects. But at the various regulations have been put forwarded so that such kind of illegal immigration can be stopped. But at the same time, they have seen that many people have flawed the laws, in spite of the fact that illegal immigration has been tried to stop through legislations, various legislations like Passport Act, like Citizenship Act itself, like Foreigners Act. In spite of all of these, still we could see that illegal immigration could not be stopped because of the unabated trend of the people, as I have said earlier, and also due to the porous border of India, because there are various parts of India where they are sharing border with a neighboring country, and they have dense forest, or they have deep rivers over there, and they are very porous. They're very porous border, because posting army over there is also a tough task. At the same time, stopping people from crossing those borders is also a very tough task. So it's like a two-way sword which is hanging on those borders. And because of, by taking the help of those porous borders where the armed force is not so strongly posted because of the geographical limitations or the challenges which those areas have, the foreigners take use of those path, and they enter into India. So India was in the wake of making the rules more stringent, so that the scrutinization of the people who are crossing the border and entering here, or taking refuge over here, or shelter over here, the scrutinization becomes more acute, becomes more strong, becomes more specific. So, taking into observation of all of this, India has started taking all of this effort. 2019 amendment was again with a different objective, which was laid down. The objective was a bit political as well as social, so both the elements were there. So gradually, I would say that I would reveal in this particular presentation what are those bold changes which has been inserted by 2019 amendment. So basically, 6B has been inserted by the 2019 amendment of to the Citizenship Amendment. So Section 6 basically deals with citizenship by naturalization. So naturalization means citizenship of India by naturalization can be acquired by a foreigner who has resided in India during last 12 months and for 11 of the previous 14 years, and satisfied other qualification as provided in the third schedule of the Act. So as I have said in my earlier slide also, that there is a thin line difference between registration and naturalization. Registration may happen if in case you are a foreigner, you were previously you had some family ties with India, but somehow that tie has been de-threaded, and now you were a foreigner. But because of having an original tie with India, you want to get back you want to get back the status of Indian citizenship, or you have married a Indian woman and now you want to settle down in India rest of your life, so you want to have Indian citizenship. So because of all this kind of links, if you want to get the citizenship, you can get it through registration. But if you are a totally foreigner, like in the case of Sonia Gandhi, as we have heard, it's a famous case of citizenship, acquiring citizenship. So she, although married a man who is having Indian citizenship, she could either get it through registration, and she had the option of getting it through naturalization also. Now it was upon her to choose that which path the person can choose. If they want to get it through registration, they can do it very well. At the same time, if it desires to go it through the process of naturalization, you can do the same. So, 6A was special provision as to citizenship of person covered by Assam Accord. Now, what is Assam Accord? That I have dealt in one of my different presentation. You can go and refer that particular presentation. 6B was also analogous to that. Now, special provision means Assam Accord people are those people who are getting a special protection from not being called as an illegal immigrant. So 6B has been inserted keeping their status in mind. It has been provided that those who are covered under the special provision of Assam Accord, their naturalization procedure would be a bit different from the process which the other people or the other foreigner entrants follow. So that has been included in the particular slide. Now, this is one of this here paragraph you can see has been done with a red font. This is the chief amendment which has been done. Okay, it provides that provided that person belonging to Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi, or Christian community in Afghanistan, Bangladesh, or Pakistan, the aggregate period of residence or service of government in India as required under this clause shall be read as not less than 5 years in place of not less than 11 years. So this is the biggest amendment. As I said, that in other cases, those people who want to naturalize as Indian citizens in India, they have to fulfill that. They have to be here for not less than a period of 11 years. However, in case of those people who have been here mentioned, the Sikh people from Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi or Christian community residing in, who were originally residing in Afghanistan, Bangladesh or Pakistan and have taken here a refuge or shelter, and now they want to naturalize. So for them, the minimum requirement would be not less than a period of 5 years in place of not less than a period of 11 years. So almost 6 years for them has been relaxed. So that is this is one of the biggest changes which has been made mm, in terms of the CAA 2019. Okay. Now another change which has been made is under section 7D. Now 7D deals with cancellation of registration as overseas citizen of India cardholder. Again, OCI cardholder, that is overseas citizen of India cardholder, I have described in one of my distinct presentation. You can follow that presentation to understand what is meant by OCI holders. Now OCI cardholders, there are certain grounds on which the status of OCI cardholders can be cancelled. CAA 2019 has given relaxation to those category of people who have been defined in the previous slide, like those people who belong to Sikh, Jain, Hindu, Parsi, Christian community from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. Uh, for them, the grounds of cancellation as OCI, in case they have been issued with OCI card, in their case, the cancellation would be different, or the grounds on which cancellation can be done would be different and much relaxed in comparison to the case of other foreigners. Now, here the central government may in such cases as it thinks fit certify that a person with respect to whose citizenship of India a doubt exists is a citizen of India, and a certificate issue under this section unless it is provided that it was obtained by means of fraud, false representation or concealment of any material fact be conclusive evidence that a person was such a citizen on the date thereof, but without prejudice to any evidence that he was such a citizen at an earlier date. Now, this is one of the interesting fact that citizenship is not a federal subject matter. It's very much is a central subject matter. So it is dealt by the Union of India at the central level. Not has been given the It has not given the states the independency to think and to redefine and tackle the citizenship issue. So consequentially, what happens is it is state governments, concerned departments will in wish to consider any particular person's status as citizen of India or not. So in case if they find that there are certain category of people, or there is a particular person from a certain category of people which has been defined earlier in the earlier slides, if they are the matter of question, so in that case it depends solely upon the central government to decide that whether he or she, if showing that they have already got the citizenship status in India, whether that citizenship status is actually true, or it's just a fraud, misrepresentation, or through any concealment of fact they have taken that particular status. So it is totally solely dependent upon the central government to decide the merit of such case. Now, here also the concept of illegal migrants, as I have said, has been defined in the Citizenship Act. It has said that illegal immigrants. It is again the depending. It is again the decision of the central government to decide that who is an illegal government and illegal immigrant and who is not. So basically, it was primarily it was said that there were three conditions to define that a person can be said as an illegal immigrant. First, if you have no visa, or if you have no particular travel documents, you're not carrying sufficient travel documents which are required for the Indian Dominion to prove that you are not an illegal immigrant. So you are not carrying that. Then in that case, can be called as an illegal immigrant. Secondly, if you have that, but you have done it through any kind of misrepresentation, fraud, or any concealment of fact or anything, you have faked the travel document. In case you have faked the travel documents and it is found that you have been faked the travel documents, then you can be called as an illegal immigrant. And the third criteria is you had the travel documents and the travel documents were very much legal enough, but you have overstayed the travel document. That means, as I have said in one of my previous presentation, that visas have a particular time period allotted for a foreigner to come and visit in a country. So if after the maturity of that particular time period, you still continue to reside in that country, it is considered that you have overstayed your visa. And of course, you are not allowed to overstay your visa without notifying the same to the concerned embassy. So you have to, if there is a valid ground to overstay your visa, you have to make it. You have to notify it in your local RRO office, or your FRRO office, or you have to go to your embassy and modify, or you have to give an application for requesting the extension of visa. In case you do none of these, then obviously it will be considered that you have maliciously, with a malicious intention, you have overstayed the visa, and then in also that in that condition also you may be you may come under the list of illegal immigrant. But here in the section 21B, after the CAA amendment 2019, this amendment has made a slight change in the definition of illegal immigrant. It has again said that those people whom has been defined as Sikh, coming from Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi, Hindu community from Afghanistan, Pakistan, or Bangladesh, in case they fulfill any of these three criteria, which was previously considered as the whole soul criteria to decide that whether you are an illegal immigrant or not. In case the victim or the person concerned belongs to this community from these countries, then in that case, it depends solely upon the department to say that whether you can be called as an illegal immigrant, or you will not be. So there are high chances that in case you prove to be a person from this community, there are high chances that you get the relaxation from being called as an illegal immigrant. This I have already said that notice the amendment has been done. Now, this particular exemption was a order prior to the Amendment Act 2019. When the amendment bill was not staged, this particular exemption was given by the union government to people of Bangladesh and Pakistan who were crossing the border and coming to India. So, this particular order was given taking into consideration the humanitarian challenges which Hindu community people face in while staying in those areas or those particular places. So it has been seen for a long period of time, or rather, it has been felt by the Indian government, which was the then Indian government, which has come up with this particular order. They might have felt, their research might have reflected that people from Hindu, Sikh, Christian, Jain, Parsi, Buddhist community, they have felt a lot of marginalization, persecution in all those countries like Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Pakistan. So, India has like already these people, they are Muslim dominating state. So probably there have been such that they have all become prey to religious persecution, and they have found that India is such a state where every community, every religion is given equal respect. So let's go back to India and take safe refuge over there. So India is a Hindu, well, it is although it's a secular country, but the concerned the government have thought that Hindus or people of other community which are branch of Hindus may come here to India and may be given certain relaxation, certain cushion, so that they may consider India as a safe haven in future days also, and they may come up here as taking safe refuge, and they may feel safe here. So keeping all of these into mind, they have given this kind of exemption to the minority community, that if you are entering India and you are staying here without such document, or even after the expiry of those documents, then in that case also you may not fall into the clutches of the Passport Act or Foreigners Act or Citizenship Act or Illegal Immigration Act. Different prohibitions which has been laid down so as to stop illegal immigration. Okay, so this was a bird eye view of the major amendments which has been done by 2019 amendment. So these are the probable practice questions which may come up. So what are the major changes done by 2019 amendment? How the changes affected the existing citizenship legislation, and what are the issues which boldly crops up once the Citizenship Act got amended? So these are some of the very thought provoking questions. You can say these are food for thought. If you intrigue these questions, you will answer many queries which may crop up in your mind while listening to this presentation. And you can refer, of course, to the clauses which I have dealt in my previous slides in the presentation. Thank you so much for such a patient hearing. Hope to see you in my next presentation again. Thank you so much.